Hi everyone, welcome back to Injection Insight with Aaron. I'm Aaron.
I'm Lisa.
And today we have a great episode for you. We're going to be talking about Botox parties.
Yeah, super fun.
I mean, it sounds amazing. I mean, everybody loves a good Botox party. Anything with party involved is always great. Mm-hmm. But there's a little bit more to it when it comes to the medical aspect of it, right?
There's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind and look out for. And then the difference too of, are you doing it in office somewhere or are you doing it at somebody's house?
Yeah, so the thing about it is when somebody does a Botox party, like our med spa, we offer Botox parties here. We shut down the office. We make it an intimate event. You can bring your friends, family, and we just shut off the office and just make it a thing. But we do not go outside the office for multiple reasons. First of all, when it comes to, the equipment that the injector needs, when it comes to the sterility and the environment is very important.
Yeah, that's something you really have to think of. I do know it is popular. We see it on TV and all these reality shows, things like that. You have the Botox parties, and it does seem fun. And it can be, perfectly fine, but I think that you just have to do your due diligence and look
that's
into
with
the
most
person.
Things,
Make sure the person has enough training, expertise. And I know we've talked about this before, but is the product real? Is it real product? Are they over diluting? Are they,
I mean, just like you said, like with the due diligence, making sure that if you decide you're going to do a Botox party and finding out this, like say it's if it's a friend of a cousin of a sister's brother, right? First of all, are they licensed? Where are they getting their product from? Do they work in a med spa or a doctor's office that is legitimate? Do that research and find out, because they might be buying their products online from some dodgy place that who knows whether it's even sterile.
Yeah.
So just making sure that you do that, But I mean, I like I said, I love Botox parties as long as they are legit.
So these are some of the things that we need to look out for, right? The cleanliness, things like that. What about consultations?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
So that's important because it is in a party atmosphere. Of course, there's gonna be food. Everybody's talking. You may have some drinks, whatever. But it is a medical procedure. So you want to make sure that you get the right consultation and ask the right
Absolutely.
questions.
I feel that sometimes when people think of Botox party, it almost becomes something non-medical. They almost assume it's just like, something fun, and which it can be fun, but it also has to be professional, it has to be sterile, it has to be medical. This is a medication, even whether it's fillers or neurotoxins. This medication is being injected into the person's face, body of some sort, right? So it needs to be done properly.
And then knowing too, is this person local? So if there is an issue, because we all know too, after you need to give Botox, Xeomin, any neurotoxin, the full 2 weeks to really kick in. And if you need a touch-up or something went wrong, are you going to be able to find that person again?
Yeah, who's going to be held accountable?
Yeah.
Who will be held accountable? If you do fillers with somebody at one of these Botox parties, what if you get an occlusion, right? When you have to go to the emergency room and get it resolved, if you can't get a hold of this person that held this party. Do you realize how many clients I've had that have come to me after going to Botox parties and have no idea what was injected into their face? No idea.
You got a crazy story.
I mean, there's many like that where they just don't know.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we have to play a guessing game to decide whether we're going to dissolve, whether it's an actual hyaluronic acid filler.
How can you fix it if you don't?
If I don't know what it is, and they can't get a hold of the person because the person's gone, right? I've had multiple clients. I had one where she came in and she was like, "Yeah, I went to this Botox party and they injected something into my lips, and it doesn't seem to ever go away." And I was like, "Well, how long has it been? Right? Like, how long have you had it?" She's like, "Oh, it's been like about 7 years." What? What do you mean it's been 7 years?
Yeah.
First of all, no. That's not supposed to happen. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, it seems to be getting bigger." I was like, I told her, I said, "I'm not even going to attempt to dissolve that because I know that is not hyaluronic acid." She went and got ultrasound, and they found out that it was silicone. They injected silicone into her lips, and you can't get that out without surgery. And with that, if you do get it removed, the chances of having lots of scar tissue and complications is very high.
This is on your face.
Yeah, she came back to do some Botox, but I was like, "I'm so sorry." Like, some things you don't mess around with. The Botox party is one, and then another rule of thumb that I have is don't go on vacation and get anything done randomly at a random place. It's kind of like, same thing with tattoos, right? You just don't go in and you might be excited. You might be like, yeah, I want to remember this. Yeah, you probably won't.
Yeah.
So
stick to a facial or massage.
Facial or massage. Even a pedicure, you might end up with some sort of issues with that. So, yeah, my thing is you never do that.
Yeah, and you always have to check with your local state too, whatever state you're in.
Because
not everybody's here in California, so you know.
Even like for instance, in Nevada, the rules for who can inject in Nevada is different than the rules for who can inject in California. So for instance, if you're in Nevada, you can, from my understanding, you can be an esthetician or you don't have to be a registered nurse, whereas in California, you have to be a registered nurse, you have to be licensed, there's a lot more regulations, which in my opinion is way better because then you know that you're getting it done properly. So jumping, off of that topic, right? So the other aspect of it, right, is so Botox parties, we know that they can be, people do it for a couple reasons, right? They do it because they want to get with the girls or the boys and get together and have a good time. Love that. Great. But a lot of it is also pricing. They do it because they get like package deals and pricing and all of that, which is great. Which we do here. We do package pricing, special, Botox party discounts and everything because it's more people. You get a lot at the same time, so you're able to do so. But once again, like I've said in many other podcasts, many other episodes, is be wary. If the price is like, oh, you come to a Botox. If Botox is $6, no. It's still
because again, you don't know if that product is real or not.
And that goes back to
be so cheap.
I had a client she's like, oh yeah, I went to a Botox party. It's $3 a unit. Yeah, but she also did it with somebody that was not a nurse, and she found out that there was a lot more involved in that, which we're not going to dive into that. But yeah, it was definitely not a good thing.
So there are benefits. It is social. It is fun. You can get special perks. Maybe, if you're doing so much Botox, you can get filler at a discounted price or a complimentary facial or whatever that may be, wherever you're going. So it is fun. And with that comes, I think we mentioned food, alcohol. I see it, on these other reality shows like Real Housewives, whatever. They have these parties. They're always drinking wine or champagne. But when you go in, typically they say not to drink.
Yes. I mean, so I would treat a Botox party just the same way I would treat any client that came in on their own to come and do a procedure. We do a full consultation, properly go over everything, get their good faith exam, their medical history, all of that. No matter what the setting is, no matter how many people are in my office, it has to be done properly, right? And then making sure that they understand the post care, ensuring that you're not drinking, you're not supposed to drink because you risk for complications, risk for bruising, risk for swelling. There's multiple issues that can happen. And that's why we have that.
So these are your recommendations, but
yes,
they're probably
I'm sure it's
but you're covering your basis.
Exactly, making sure that they're aware of what is the expectation.
So what if somebody is having a little bit of wine or champagne at one of these parties and you're doing neurotoxin or filler? What could they expect? What are the side effects of that?
More bruising, more swelling. The thing is, if they're having neurotoxin, being down like Botox or whatever, risk of it moving. Same thing with the filler, just because of the swelling and everything can affect it.
Yeah.
Also, when you're drinking, you're not as cautious.
Yeah.
Right. So you get some people, not everybody, but some people get a little bit sloppy, loosey-goosey, whatever it may be, and they're bumping into things or whatever, or just not even thinking, like touching their face, risk for infection because you're touching areas that you just had treatments done. So there's multiple reasons. I would just say that if you, as a viewer or a listener, do go to a Botox party and they are serving alcohol, just be cautious of how much you drink and be cautious of what you drink, just because it can have an effect.
Maybe a glass of wine or two, but not body shots.
Not body shots, no tequila shots. So in regards to drinking before and after, so the thing is rule of thumb for me, if anybody is drinking prior to me doing treatments, I will not do treatments on them because therefore their judgment is impaired and therefore their decisions are not like what they should be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not deciding for themselves. They could be like, oh my gosh, I want to get a tattoo out of the state and randomly or something like that, right? So they're not properly thinking and they might have regrets later, and I don't want that. So for me, I would not suggest drinking and then doing something because they might do more than they wanted to and then regret it later.
Well, definitely not over drinking.
No,
we've
of
had
course
people
not.
that come in, you know, maybe they had a few glasses of wine or something the night before, and that's obviously they're coherent, they're fine.
Yeah.
But you can always tell, right? Because they bleed a little bit more.
Yeah. Or they've had the drinks the night before. Yeah, you could definitely tell.
You can tell.
Yeah. So and then afterwards, I mean, it is more, you know, it's more acceptable, I would say, to, you know, have a drink or whatever afterwards. It's, you know, I would say that would be more acceptable in my opinion. But once again, this is me coming from an injector's point of view, not from another friend who's sitting at a Botox party's point of view.
Yeah.
So, have you ever gone to a Botox party?
I have never been to a Botox party. No, I'm waiting for us to host one, so I can be here this next time. So that'll be fun. But yeah.
So if you're going to one of these Botox parties, whether it's, you know, out of state, in-house, somewhere local, whatever it may be, I would say that make sure that you do your paperwork beforehand. Because I think the worst thing or the most unfun, mind the verbiage, for a Botox party is to come in, everybody's doing paperwork for 20-30 minutes.
You're excited to be around your friends, everybody's talking, and nobody wants to sit down and fill out paperwork.
Like 20 people sitting there doing paperwork is not fun.
No. So a lot of places, I know we can email out the paperwork ahead of time.
Absolutely.
So hopefully a lot of places could do that.
And also what we do as well is before our last Botox party, which I thought was really cool, was while one person was getting treatments, they had other people getting mini facials.
Oh,
so they would go and get a little mini facial, come out, hang out with their friends, another one goes. So that way people are still kind of doing stuff, relaxing, and still being social at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a cute thing too to think of, like even get a chair massage person.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody's doing something.
It's all about relaxation, having fun.
Yeah.
So look, going back to what I said, I fully support Botox parties. I think they're amazing. They can be so much fun. It's fun for us also to host a Botox party. It is definitely. So on that note, I would love for anybody that would like to come in and do a consultation and find out about one. We can do bridal shower parties, bachelorette parties, birthday parties. So yeah, it'd be great.
Definitely fun. If you're in the Calabasas area, you can always just reach out to us, DM, call us. But yes, if you're out of state or not close to us, these are just hopefully some of the things that, you know, we can help you think of ahead of time to help you.
All right, so this wraps up this episode of Injection Insight with Erin. We just wanted to thank you. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Hopefully we gave you some good information. Please share it with a friend. Anybody that's looking, you know, to book a party or is interested in this, please share. And if you have any questions or are interested in booking a party yourself, please just reach out to us. You know, DM us. We're here to answer any of your questions.
Until next time.
Bye. Thank you.